Picture this. You're a father of two, living quietly in California, working on mental health advocacy and supporting veterans. You've been honest about your past struggles, the kind of raw honesty that saves lives and breaks stigmas. You've found peace, purpose, and love. And then, suddenly, 1,000 government documents with your name on them become the center of a political circus, threatening to tear apart the sanctuary you've built for your family. This isn't fiction, my friends. This is Prince Harry's reality in 2025. Welcome back to Meghan and Harry Tales. I'm Adrian, your host, and today we're not just discussing another headline, we're exposing a calculated attack on a man whose only crime was choosing authenticity over silence, love over duty, and freedom over the gilded cage of royal expectations. The headlines scream deportation, legal jeopardy, and visa scandal. But behind these sensationalized words lies a story far more sinister: the weaponization of immigration law against a man who dared to live his truth. So buckle up, because what we're about to uncover will shock you, inspire you, and perhaps most importantly, reveal just how far some will go to punish those who refuse to play by their rules. Let's start with the facts, because in this age of misinformation, facts matter more than ever. According to fresh court filings that emerged just last week, the US Department of State has identified exactly 1,007 documents related to Prince Harry's visa application and status. Now, that number might sound overwhelming, but let's break it down methodically. 217 documents come from the Office of the Secretary of State, that's the highest level of diplomatic correspondence. 517 from the Bureau of Consular Affairs, which handles visa processing. 271 from the Office of the Legal Advisor, suggesting complex legal considerations. And even 2 documents from the Deputy Secretary's Office, indicating this case reached the upper echelons of government. But here's what the sensationalist headlines won't tell you. Having extensive documentation doesn't necessarily indicate wrongdoing. High-profile individuals, especially those with complex backgrounds like royalty, naturally generate more paperwork. Every security check, every diplomatic courtesy, every procedural step creates a paper trail. The Heritage Foundation, and let's be crystal clear about who they are, filed this lawsuit under the Freedom of Information Act, demanding these documents be made public. They claim Harry's candid admissions about past drug use in his memoir, Spare, should have disqualified him from entering the United States. But let's examine the timeline here. Harry's visa applications and renewals would have been processed well before Spare was published in January 2023. His residency in California began in 2020. So we're talking about retroactive prosecution of honesty, punishing a man for being truthful about his past struggles in a book designed to help others. The Heritage Foundation isn't asking these questions out of concern for immigration law. They're asking because Harry represents something they cannot tolerate. A royal who chose love over loyalty to an institution, who chose healing over hiding, who chose America over England. To understand what's really happening here, we need to zoom out and see the bigger political chess game being played. The Heritage Foundation isn't some neutral civil rights organization. They're a conservative think tank with deep ties to the Republican establishment and the Trump administration. This same organization was instrumental in crafting Trump's immigration policies during his first presidency. They advocated for family separations at the border, pushed for the Muslim ban, and consistently argued for the strictest possible interpretation of immigration law. But somehow they found the time and resources to focus their considerable legal firepower on one specific case, Prince Harry's visa. Why now? Why this case? Because Harry represents everything they despise about modern progressive values. He's spoken openly about mental health, breaking centuries of royal stoicism. He's married a biracial American actress who challenged royal protocols from day one. He's used his platform to advocate for causes they oppose: climate change action, social justice, media accountability. But there's another layer to this political chess game. Trump himself has made Harry a personal target. During his campaign, Trump made several pointed comments about Harry and Meghan. He praised King Charles and Queen Camilla while making snide remarks about other family members. The subtext was clear as day. Then there was that particularly cruel comment where Trump said he wouldn't deport Harry because he already has enough problems with his wife. Think about the calculated cruelty of that statement. It's designed to drive a wedge between Harry and Meghan, to make Harry feel like his love for his wife is somehow a burden or a problem. This isn't about immigration law, friends. This is about punishing dissent, about sending a message to anyone who dares to step out of line. We can reach you anywhere, even in America, even when you think you're safe. Let's talk about the staggering hypocrisy at the heart of this controversy. Because if past drug use is truly a disqualifying factor for residency in America, then we need to start asking some very uncomfortable questions about a lot of very powerful people. George W. Bush admitted to cocaine use. Barack Obama wrote openly about his marijuana and cocaine experimentation in his memoir, Dreams from My Father. Bill Clinton famously claimed he didn't inhale. David Cameron admitted to smoking cannabis at school. Justin Trudeau, Canada's Prime Minister, admitted to smoking marijuana while serving in Parliament. None of these admissions prevented these men from holding the highest offices in their respective countries. None of them faced deportation threats or had conservative think tanks demanding their personal documents be made public. But somehow Harry's honesty, his courage in sharing his struggles to help other young men facing similar battles, is being treated as a disqualifying offence. The very quality that makes him an effective advocate for mental health and addiction recovery is being weaponized against him. And let's be honest about what Harry was actually doing when he used these substances. He was a traumatized young man, grieving his mother's death, struggling with PTSD from his military service, and trapped in a system that demanded he suffer in silence. His substance use wasn't recreational partying, it was self-medication for profound trauma. The fact that he overcame these challenges, sought help, and now uses his experience to help others should be celebrated, not criminalized. But in the upside-down world of Harry's critics, healing becomes a weakness, honesty becomes a liability, and growth becomes grounds for punishment. Let's get technical for a moment, because understanding the actual law matters. US immigration law does indeed consider past drug use, but it's far more nuanced than Harry's critics would have you believe. The Immigration and Nationality Act does list drug-related offences as grounds for inadmissibility, but, and this is crucial, it focuses on convictions, not admissions. Harry was never convicted of any drug-related offence. He was never arrested, never charged, never prosecuted. Moreover, the law provides extensive discretionary authority to immigration officials. They can and regularly do grant waivers for past conduct when applicants demonstrate rehabilitation, community contributions, and pose no ongoing risk. Harry's record, since any alleged substance use, is exemplary. Military service with distinction, including 2 tours in Afghanistan. Extensive charitable work through the Invictus Games, Centabale, and mental health advocacy. A stable family life with no legal troubles whatsoever. Any reasonable immigration officer, applying the law fairly and without political pressure, would likely conclude that Harry poses no risk and brings substantial benefit to American society. But here's the real kicker. Immigration cases are supposed to be confidential. The law protects applicants' privacy precisely because immigration histories can be weaponized for political purposes. Harry's case is only public because of who he is and because his enemies want to make it public. Behind all these legal maneuvers and political games, there's a human story that's easy to forget. Harry is a husband and father who moved his family to America seeking safety, Meghan's peace of mind, on a family that has already sacrificed so much for the simple right to live authentically. And let's not forget what this means for Meghan. She gave up her acting career, her independence, her American life to marry Harry and serve the crown. When that became untenable, she supported Harry's decision to leave, knowing it would mean starting over completely. Now she faces the possibility of watching her husband be forced to leave the country where she was born, where her mother lives, where she thought her children would be safe. But here's what I know about Harry and Meghan. They're fighters. They've faced down the British tabloid press, survived palace intrigue, built successful careers from scratch, and created a loving family against all odds. This latest challenge, painful as it is, won't break them. It might even make them stronger. As we wait for the judge's decision on those 1007 documents, remember this. Harry's story is about more than one man's visa status. It's about whether America will remain a place where honesty is rewarded, where healing is celebrated, where people can build new lives based on their values rather than their past mistakes. It's about whether we'll allow political operatives to weaponize immigration law against those who dare to challenge powerful institutions. It's about whether courage and authenticity will triumph over calculated cruelty and political revenge. I believe they will. Because Harry and Meghan's story isn't just about two people, it's about the timeless human desire for freedom, love, and the right to define your own destiny. This has been Meghan and Harry Tales. I'm Adrian, and I'll be here next week with more stories of courage, truth, and the ongoing fight for justice. Until then, keep believing in love over hate, truth over deception, and hope over fear.